Laheating! Hello everyone, welcome to my Queer channel. I'm your host Queer-chan, and today we are going to do our final ChibiPokeHouse review from this set of reviews. It's going to be a bit different compared to what we've been looking at so far. I mentioned in my last video that, of course, it was going to be from the compact line of sets, and it is. Those of you who watched my Type A review, the Shamuti Island set, will hopefully recall that I believe I mentioned that the set could be played with or could be interacted with next to the three Legendary Bird Island sets. And, of course, that is exactly what we're going to look at today. Now, these are some of the oldest sets in the ChibiPokeHouse line. The compact sets are, I believe, the older sets. Some of them go right back into the 90s. These, I believe, were the year 2000. I'm not sure. It could have been 90s. I'm honestly not certain. Actually, is there an... oh gosh, 1997. I beg your pardon. So these have been out for a very long time. Funnily enough, though, they go right back to the original Pokemon Center website. At least two of them do. Those of you who recall the website may recall seeing Fire Island and Lightning Island, but never Ice Island. In fact, it wasn't until I was actually collecting the sets in earnest that I discovered that there was indeed an Ice Island to go with it. I was always under the impression that, as I said, there were only two of the island playsets made, that, of course, again, being Fire and Lightning, and I've always found it incredibly strange that they never did an Ice Island. There was never even a hint of there being an Ice Island on any of the images, any of the searches, anything. In fact, it was, as I said, it was literally by accident that I discovered there was an Ice Island. I think it actually was on the back of the packaging of one of these sets, where, of course, they gave a preview of the other sets in the line, and again, that was when I saw my first glimpse of Ice Island, and I absolutely fell in love with it the moment I saw it. I knew I had to have it. As I mentioned in my Type A review, when I was a kid, Pokemon the Movie 2000 really resonated with me. I absolutely loved the film growing up, and I had a very, very big sort of intrigue with the Ice-type Pokemon, with Articuno, with Ice Island. It was just, you know, one of those weird, you know, things you become obsessed with as a kid. For me, it was ice and Ice Island. I don't know, I was a weird kid. So yes, I think, funnily enough, it was actually only within about a week or two of my discovering the Ice Island set that I've managed to find one for sale for the first time ever on eBay, so absolutely impeccable timing there. There's not really much to go with on the outside of the compact sets. You can't really do a go-around like on the deluxe sets. The one thing I will show you, however, is, I can't remember if I mentioned in the first video, the Type D tree video, that the compact sets were more or less the same between the Western and Japanese versions, except for the sticker that they put on the front. Now, this is sort of an exception to the exception, but as you can see, this is actually the Western version of Fire Island. Now, if you compare it to the style put on the Japanese releases, you've got Pocket Monsters, you've got ChibiPokeHouse, got a nice little design there, you've got Zapdos, whereas over here you literally just have the Pokemon Splash logo and the Pokemon included in the set. Now, oops, if I do go into the compact line of play sets, I will of course show you a better example of the stickers that they used on the Western releases. As I said, this is an exception to the exception, because on the majority of the small sets, they have, again, it was literally just a blank sticker with no Pokemon, just the word Pokemon. I shouldn't say blank, but it just had the Splash logo on it and nothing more, whereas the Japanese releases have this sort of stylized, cute design with pocket monsters, with the Pokemon included in the set on it, and with ChibiPokeHouse written on it. And as you can see, Ice Island is exactly the same. These two were the Japanese releases. They would have been in Japan. I miraculously got them on the American eBay, whereas this one is the Western release. Give me a jump cut here while I set these up for you. And we're back. As you can see, they're put together, and in my opinion, they are some of the best of the compact sets ever released. They are so fun, and I think they've done such a great recreation of the islands themselves. And I've just this second noticed that they're out of order. Articuno should be in the middle, but oh well. You'll have to forgive me on that one. It's been a while since I've seen the film. As you can see, they each come with their own little bridge accessories with a matching colour, of course. And the nice thing about these is that they're actually textured. They're all the same texture, but moulded in the different colours. You can definitely see how that could pass as lava, and that could easily pass as ice, and not sure about that one. Either way, it works. We'll just go through these one by one, starting with, of course, our friend Moltres over here. Now, of course, since you've got such a small set, they aren't, you know, going to be as feature-packed as the larger sets. In fact, I think the biggest feature of these sets is their ability to interact with the Shamuti Island set, which, of course, I will get to in a few minutes. There's usually, on the small sets, there is usually one feature per half of the compact set. On the front half, of course, I've never been able to figure out if they're waves or shark fins. I imagine they're waves. Sharpedo didn't exist when second Pokemon movie came out, but it's just a matter of sliding them across, making some tidal waves and whatnot. And then, of course, oops, we'll just move him out of the way. This is the water spout feature that I mentioned, or the water spout figure that I mentioned in the Type A review. How I mentioned it had two pegs, one to go inside the bird, one to go inside the set, and I will actually show you what those are for in a moment. So we'll just put that down, and then on the top half, very basic, just, you know, some basic decoration. The feature here, it's not a terribly impressive feature in my opinion. It's just a matter of setting Moltres on top of the volcano and moving him down by a micrometer. Whoops. Now the really big appeal in these sets to me is really just more their existence than what any of them do, and the fact that they are actually tailor-made for each bird. You'll notice off to the side that they've actually got the shrine and another of the orbs, very much like what they had in the Shamuti Island set. And when I get the sets side by side together in a moment, I will show you. But each of the shrines included with the set are actually individual. They haven't just reused the same mold for each of the sets. It would have been so easy for them to do, given that it's such a small feature, such a small decoration that could be very easily overlooked. But no, they have actually gone ahead and molded 3 completely separate shrines for each of the islands, and I'll show you all of them side by side. But I think that is an absolutely outstanding little inclusion there. And then, of course, you've got a nice figure of Moltres. This, I mean, other than the fact that the paint is chipping on mine, I think the figures included in the ChibiPokeHouse sets, particularly the island sets, they're fantastic. They are easily on par with the standard size figures in terms of paintwork, in terms of accuracy. It's just a great little inclusion, I think. So we'll put you off to the side. Try and do this in order. So this time we'll do Ice Island next. Now, I think it goes without saying, this is my favourite of the 3. I love, love, love this set. It's such a pretty set. I'm a real sucker for ice and snow scenes, and this just, it absolutely does it for me. So, again, you've got your water spout, your bridge accessory, a very nice little figure of Articuno. In fact, if I'm honest, I think this is actually a better figure than the standard figure released. I know the standard figure release had a very nice sort of iridescent blue paint job, but it's so much more accurate, I think. It's cuter. It's just a much nicer looking figure, again, other than the fact that the paint is chipping horribly on mine. I'll show you the shrine again. Now, those of you who've seen the movie know that the shrine is actually supposed to be on top of the mountain, but, you know, there's only so much you can do with, you know, a 2.5-inch playset. Oh, the shrine's quite difficult to remove on this one, but there you go. And again, I will show the 3 shrines next to each other after I've gone through the islands, so you can see how each of them are different. So the feature on this side of the playset, first of all, there is a little hole there for your water spout. So you can put your Pokemon there, your Articuno, or any of the other birds. I mean, it's the exact same water spout accessory for all 3 sets, so you can easily interchange the birds in the sets and have them all interact with each other. So the feature here is simply that the ice cracks open, and I love that they've actually gone ahead and put ice underneath the ice, and had a nice little decal of some stormy water and some nice little Gen 1 Pokemon. A little ramp going into it. So, nice little feature there. And then the feature on the top half will just move those down, put Articuno there. This feature I don't understand. I really don't understand. I don't know why it's included. I don't know why it's relevant, but it is what it is. Whoops. It's literally just a matter of pushing in the bottom part of the mountain, setting Articuno in place, and sending him for a ride. Straight into the water. Yeah, it's not a terribly impressive feature, in my opinion. The top half of all of the playsets, in my opinion, the features just, they aren't as great on the top half. The bottom half are alright. This is the best of the 3, I think. But, yeah. Visually, it's my favourite, but obviously they're meant for children, you know. Children can make a lot more use out of it than us boring old adults. And then of course we've got our last set, which is the Lightning Island set. Nice little bridge accessory. I haven't shown you yet, but the bridge slips very nicely over the side. And I'll show you how it connects to the larger playsets in just a moment, but the idea is that you can actually put 2 of these side by side. And, whoops, if I can get them straight, the idea is that you can connect them. I'm obviously not doing a very good job, there we go. It's a bit fiddly, a lot more than you would think, because you've obviously got to get them basically perfectly aligned and parallel with one another for it to work, but there you go. I think I've been talking about all these reviews, and now you finally get to see it. So there we go, that's the Lightning Island bridge. Let's move Moltres down here for now. Same thing over here, you've got your water spout accessory. A lovely figure of Zapdos, really, really great figure in my opinion. They're so well done for the ChibiPokeHouses. You would expect a figure this tiny to be an absolute mess, but no, they've done such a good job with the moulding and the paintwork. They're just fantastic. They really are. You just don't see little, you know, playset and accessories like this anymore, and I think that's so sad. Now, this one's a little bit of a cheat, because the bottom feature, as you can see, has room for 3 different water spouts. And as you can see, when you push it around, the water spouts spin. Now the idea there, again, it's a bit cheeky, it's a bit like the feature on the Shamuti Island set. The idea is that you have all 3 sets, and you stick the birds in, and push you back in, and they can spin around and fight each other. Of course, they don't actually go very far because they get tangled up very, very easily, so I can really only do that. But I think it's actually a very fun little feature, even if it is a bit cheeky and gets you to buy all the other sets in the line. I think it's a super feature. I love this. I love that they've actually gone this far to recreate, you know, this part of the film. And you know, if I were a kid, I'd be absolutely going mad over that. I think that's brilliant. So I'll just put, oh, come on you. Just move you back to your islands. So as you can see, bottom feature here is the swirling vortex of doom. Up here you've got your shrine. Bring that up close. Oops, not very good with these spheres. And then, oh, see what I mean? We'll just move this over here for now. Take Zapdos out. Now the feature in the top part of the set is actually more of a storage feature than anything, and it works all right. It takes a bit of fiddling around to get it to go back into place. What I do like about the top half, however, is that it's all the detail in it. The bushes that they've included, there's a little bit of water down here that has spray and everything. I think that's fantastic. So the idea is simply press this rock back here, lifts the lake up, and you've got a little storage unit, or you've got a place to hide Zapdos, because as we all know, he flew straight out of the water and into the battle, just like in the film. Not. So that's the 3 sets. Before we go on to sort of the big feature of the set, I will do as I said and compare the 3 shrines for you. Let's see. So I did say that they're all individually moulded to go with their sorry, my throat's going again. They were all individually moulded to go with their islands, and hopefully, if I can get this to zoom in properly, you can see it. You've got Moltres on the end, no, sorry, you've got Zapdos on the end, Moltres in the middle, and Articuno to the right. And you can see they've got completely different birds moulded in all 3 cases. You've got a sort of a snowflake motif along the sides of the ice one, fire motif on the side of the fire one, and lightning on the side of the electric one, which is brilliant. I absolutely love it. They could have very easily just moulded a generic shrine and put that for all 3, but they actually went to the trouble of moulding 3 completely separate shrines for each, and I really appreciate attention to detail like that. And this is the back, you can kind of see. I think the Articuno one's the nicest, of course, but yeah. Now, give me one more second, give me another little jump cut here. I will set up the Shamuti Island set again and show you what I mentioned in the Type A review. So, stand by. And we're back once more. Been a while since we've seen this set. I think the Type A was one of the first reviews I did in this set of reviews. As you can see, I haven't got it entirely put together. I haven't put the palm tree or the totem pole in just for safety's sake. But I mentioned in the Type A these 3 holes on the cliffs. And at long last, I can show you what they're intended for. And once again, I actually discovered this completely by mistake when I was doing a photo shoot for the Type A set a number of years ago, and it equal parts blew my mind and just made me slap my forehead, because it's such an obvious, when you figure it out, it's such an obvious thing. Hang on, Articuno's a bit out of focus there, a bit out of shot rather. There we go. And as you can see, you've now got 3 birds on the island, which again, absolutely superb little feature. It's naughty in that it gets you to buy all the other sets in order to actually make full use of the features in this set. Same with the Zapdos Lightning Island set. But when you put it together, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It works so well, and it pays such a nice tribute to the film. You've got Lugia rising on his own water spout. The birds didn't actually have water spouts in the film, as I'm sure you probably remember, but the way I see, and also it's a bit strange seeing a water spout coming out of, you know, a mountain, but the way I see it, it's an absolutely acceptable means of displaying them, of, you know, of having them be able to attach to the main Shamuti Island set and fly effectively. I think it's an absolutely superb little feature. It works well with the 3 sets amongst each other, and it works well with the larger parent set. And the nice thing about it is that, again, even though it does kind of get you to buy the other sets in line, each of the sets works beautifully on its own, as I proved for many years with the Shamuti Island set. Again, this was the very first ChibiPokeHouse that I ever got. This is the original. It's not a replacement or anything. Miraculously, this one out of the 3 that I had as a kid was the only one which survived, and I'm glad for it because it's very difficult to find now. So yes, looks a bit better from this angle, I think, but yeah. It's a lovely little feature. Wholeheartedly recommend it. If you can find the Shamuti Island set, the way I see it, it's only fair if you have the island sets to go with it. And actually, for collectors who are wondering about this, the island sets are actually relatively easy to find. As we speak, there are 2 sets currently on eBay. There is, I believe, Lightning Island and Ice Island. I haven't seen Fire Island for a while, but it does pop up sporadically. I think I've also seen, I cannot remember which ones, on Yahoo Japan auctions. And if you follow the link below to my ChibiPokeHouse archive online, I've of course got an FAQ page and an information page that will give you search terms and some advice regarding buying from Japan and what to look for, and of course a photo archive so you can compare your future purchases or potential purchases to sets that I already have to check for completion and so on and so forth. You can also see more pictures of the Shamuti Island set and of course the island sets interacting with each other. I think this is a fantastic way of getting different different items in a set of toys to interact with each other. It's subtle, and yet, in my opinion, it works so well. As I said, as a kid, I would have absolutely flipped over this had I figured it out at the time. And had I figured it out early, I probably would have begged my parents to help me buy the 2 at the time, Bird Island sets to use with my Shamuti Island set. It just makes the set so much more interesting and actually adds quite a splash of colour to it as well. So I think it's absolutely perfect. I can wholeheartedly recommend getting not only the Shamuti Island set, but the island sets to go with it. If you have the Shamuti Island set, you've got to get the islands. It's you know, they're complete together. In fact, on the back of the box that I think Lightning Island came on, it actually even showed the sets connected and next to the Shamuti Island set, and of course it's not a completely accurate representation of what you saw in the film, but it is, in my opinion, a nice little representation of it and a great thing for kids to play with, especially if they, you know, if they were fans of the earlier films. I'm a bit out of touch. I don't know how much it applies to younger Pokemon fans these days. I'm speaking from my own experience. As I said, if I were a kid and I had this in my possession, I'd absolutely just go mad over it. And of course, the nice thing about the compact sets is that, of course, they are compact. They're portable. You can take them everywhere with you, which you can only do with 2 of the larger sets. So, you know, if you're on a plane or if you're on a train or travelling somewhere, then it's literally just a matter of grabbing, you know, 4 or 5 of the compact sets, putting them in a bag or a purse or something, and your kid has something to play with to keep them quiet. Absolutely perfect idea. Very reminiscent of the Polly Pocket line of sets, which was very popular when I was growing up. I think it's superb. I think it's great. If you don't want to give your kid a tablet, give them a ChibiPokeHouse. Fantastic set. And of course, for home, the larger sets. For now though, there isn't too much more to say about these sets. I haven't mentioned price. I did say there were 2 available on eBay at the moment. I seem to remember they were actually quite pricey, sort of in the $25 to $30 range. I cannot remember how much I got my Lightning and Ice Island sets. I think I got my Fire Island set for about $10, but that was about 6-7 years ago at this point. So it's hard to say what prices are going to be like these days, particularly as I'm not really searching for, you know, these sets anymore, just really the ones that I'm missing at this point. If you're looking for the set itself, you know, $25 to $30 is probably going to be very, very steep for such a small set, and, you know, something that does relatively little, especially compared to the larger sets. So I would say, unless you're willing and happy to throw a fair amount of money at it, you might not want to start collecting all of the compact sets. Some are available for dirt cheap, others are very expensive, particularly, as I've said, the island sets. I've got the full collection of it. If you're interested in seeing it, I'm very happy to go through them. I think it'd be a great set of videos. Probably, the videos themselves probably be quite a bit shorter than the larger playset videos, but there's lots more of them. So yeah, I would really only say, and unless you can find a good deal on the island sets, and unless you've got Shamuhi Island already, I would say that the price might not be worth the set, unless of course you're specifically collecting ChibiPokeHouses, or the Pokemon included in the sets, or, you know, vintage Pokemon in general. I mean, this is the epitome of vintage Pokemon here. Other than that, though, as I've said, not very much more to say about this. If you'd like me to do the line of compact sets for my next set of reviews, please let me know. I'm very happy to do it. It'd be a fun set of reviews, I think. I've had a lot of fun doing the larger play sets. I think the ChibiPokeHouse line in general is one that goes very much sort of unnoticed, even in its day. You know, didn't have a very wide Western release, even a fairly limited Japanese release, so you don't see them very often these days. You usually see maybe 1 or 2 in a collection. I think I've only seen 1 or 2 other people who had collections as large as mine. So yeah, not very easy to find, and I'd love to go through them if it's something you'd be interested in seeing. For now, though, thank you very much indeed for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Be on the lookout for the next set of reviews, or the next set of videos. They may not be reviews, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Share with your friends, keep on the lookout. We've got so many new things coming to this channel. I'm so excited to, you know, to finally start making use of my new laptop. So yeah, exciting things are going to happen. For now, though, thank you very much indeed for watching. I've been Quarechan, you've been amazing, and may the Force and Neimoidians and Pokemon be with you.